Hello, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. You just saw some beautiful pictures in our introduction there. But I want to tell you today we're going to be sharing with you pictures that are even more beautiful than anything you saw there. And that's because our guest today is a local artist. His name is Steve Tilka, and he's here today with his wife, Laura. Steve and Laura, welcome to the show. We're so glad you can be with us here today.
Thank you very much.
I know that you've had your paintings on display in the Suprema Cafe here, and a lot of people had the chance to see them there. I guess I was not aware we had such a talented and skilled artist here in the local community. So it's wonderful. I just loved looking at your pictures, your paintings, because these are all paintings, right?
Paintings, yes.
Yeah. And how in the world did you get started in painting?
Well,
or let me back up. How did you get started in art? Just back all the way. Have you always been interested in art?
I've always been interested in art, but it more or less really began when I went to art school. I went to the Akron Art Institute for 2 years, and I would have finished my 4 years, but I was draft bait. And schools like Akron University and other colleges, they exempt their students from the draft, but the Art Institute was not draft exempt. So I found myself after 2 years joining the Air Force rather than being enlisted in the Army.
So that would be a good opportunity for you, and I'm glad to know that you survived it and you came home. Yes. That is, we wouldn't have these today if you had not come home. Laura, you were sharing with me a little while ago that early on, Steve's parents even recognized him as an artist.
When Steve was about 5 years old, his mother would be looking for him, and this is like 1937, and the old style homes with the big dining room table and the tablecloth draped over the table, and Steve's mother would be looking all over the house for him, and she couldn't find him anywhere. Finally, she looked under the dining room table, and there he was drawing.
At 5 years old, Steve was drawing already.
Yes.
So you really picked it up early, and you've kept on with it your entire life. Well, we're going to look at some of your paintings, and we're starting by going across the ocean over to Europe. But I think you said that these are not scenes. You're not the kind of artist who goes out and sets up an easel and has a paint box and a palette. Tell me how you put your paintings together.
Well, when I travel, I can't paint on site, so I revert to a camera. I take a lot of pictures, and hopefully some of the pictures, when I get them developed, they're suitable for painting. And sometimes I paint from photographs that I really I'm not satisfied with, so I make alterations. I make the changes on canvas. I paint on canvas with oil paints.
Well, also, you rely a lot on books because you have a great interest in history and architecture and how things were maybe 100 years ago. So let's look at a couple of your pictures now that I believe you said came out of books, the original. And I find this very fascinating. Let's look at the first picture we have.
Okay.
Now, was this actually a color picture that you used as your basis, or was this something else?
This was a color picture of Cinque Terre. It's on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. There's 5 villages similar to this, and I found this picture. I can't remember where I found it, but it was
Well,
you know,
it's
suitable to me for painting. So I painted a couple paintings of this scene, and since then I've seen other views of this village, but I haven't gotten around to painting them yet.
Well,
But
you always can go back to photographs or pictures in books, and the next one is over in France, isn't it? This one?
yes, this
Boy,
is
that looks pretty much like a high hilltop.
Yes.
yes, this is Gordes, Gordes, the name of it, and it's a medieval fortified mountaintop village or city, and during this day and age, in the medieval days, they had to fortify their cities with a castle-like structure on the top, and they're always topped with a church and spire. And I've painted about 15 or 16 paintings of this scene, only different views. And it's just a gorgeous thing. Architecturally, it's to me, it's one of the most beautiful villages that I have ever seen.
You have quite a few architectural paintings, and that goes back to your background having been a career architect.
Yes.
So you tend to see the architecture with a different eye, with the artist's eye. Well, from here we're going to go over to London 100 years ago.
Yes.
Now, you can't tell me that these were color photographs from 100 years ago.
Right. Yes, they were black and white photographs, and I gave them color. I enlarged them on canvas, and I had to place a few more carriages, horse and carriages, and people in them in order to come up with a better composition. This painting is the Queen's Theater, and these are historical because with the Second and the First and Second World War, these cities were really demolished. They were flattened, and since then, many of the buildings have been replaced as they were, but many of them have not been.
Was a great loss to architecture as well as, of course, the loss of human life through all those wars.
Very much so.
Well, from here, we're going to go back to Italy because we have some beautiful paintings you did of Venice. And I think St. Mark's?
Yes.
Now, were you actually to St. Mark's?
No.
Aw.
We went to Italy, but we never, our tour did not cover Venice and St. Mark's. But again, I relied, I do rely on photographs that I find in libraries and magazines, and photography is a great instrument for the artist. You can't travel everywhere, and finding the right photographs to me is just as satisfying as painting the picture. I do a lot of research in libraries. I'm always looking through magazines and newspapers, and so.
And you just rely on them as a starting point. You don't actually replicate the pictures. You're just using them as a starting point for your imagination.
Mainly a starting point. Some photographs are beautifully done. The composition is just perfect, and so I paint it as I see it on the photo. Some photographs aren't quite there. In other words, you have to use your artistic
tools.
Yeah.
Skills.
And you have to shuffle people around, various elements in the to make the composition interesting and to make it work.
Well, we have one more picture from Italy, and that's the Colosseum. It's one of the entrances to the Colosseum.
Yes.
So
now that photograph we took, we were at the Colosseum, and this is near one of the main entrances. You can see the doorway at the bottom of the picture, and it goes right through into the Colosseum, where the lions and so forth, lions and tigers, did their
what they considered entertainment.
You're right.
Yeah, which of course to the people involved
Yeah.
certainly wasn't. Well, we've been, my gosh, to France, to Italy, to London, but we have a picture here that is based on a scene right in southern Ohio.
Yes.
And that one, there we go.
Yes, this one we were writing about in southern Ohio, and I tried to find this place again on another trip, and I just couldn't. But the first when we saw this farm, I told myself I had to paint it, so I took a couple pictures of it, and
so for this painting, you were both the photographer and the artist.
Yes, and I did the painting, and then years later, I added the cows that you see on the right side of the painting just to give it scale. The barns and the houses and so forth give it scale, but it needed something more than that. So, some living thing.
Well,
And
that means you brought your imagination into it as well, into your
Yes.
painting. And we have a couple paintings now that are strictly from imagination.
right.
So let's take a look at those and tell us a little bit about these.
Yes, this is just an imaginative painting, I call it. And I had nothing else to do, so I just started painting and let it lead me to what I have here. And this is another one where I did the painting and I liked it. I left it alone for a few years. And then I added, for scale, some sheep, a herd of sheep. And it helped it a lot, I thought.
Certainly draws the eye.
And I've been doing that quite a bit to quite a few of my paintings, adding people or animals. And
Yeah, and you have a few others that you did strictly from imagination. I think
Yes.
we've got two more here.
yes, this is one I did from the imagination.
It just struck you?
I painted it, and it came out well.
Let's take a look at the next one.
Okay,
That's very different.
this one was done a little more abstractly. I did not use brushes on this painting. I used palette knife. And with palette knife application, it has quite a different kind of atmospheric feel to it. And also a lot of texture, and I was happy with it. I tried a few more palette knife paintings, but palette knife is kind of hard to control.
Well, a minute ago you mentioned almost abstract, and you've done some semi-abstract paintings as well.
Yes.
In fact, we have 3 of them here. So let's take a look at, oh my goodness.
Yes.
Now what is this?
This one I called Falling Leaves. It's you have to see the entire painting. This is just a part of it. It's actually a vertical painting, and
It's pretty hard to put a vertical painting on a horizontal television screen.
right. And
Well-
but it's still good. The photographer did a good job of selecting that part of the painting that. Well, he produced a pretty good composition.
Well, now this one, what do
Yeah.
we have here? I'll tell you what I
Yes.
think it is. I think it's got flowers in it.
Yes, and you are correct. These are irises, And again, the photographer did not get the entire picture of the whole painting.
And this one?
This picture is a tropical fish. It kind of shows the movement, and it's, like I said, semi-abstract. It's some of the elements, the realistic elements, are taken away, and only what I felt was really necessary I left in. So
we have another painting here that is very different. It looks kind of abstract to me, but it looks very different from the ones that you were just talking about.
yes, this is kind of an experimental painting. It's called Sunflowers, and I didn't use a palette knife or a paintbrush. I used the tube of paint, and I just squeezed it out like you do toothpaste. And it turned out quite well, and I framed it and signed it.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a lovely, lovely painting. And now the next two, I have to say, I think you must have been very bored when you did these next two. And let's see the next one. Now, what in the world were you doing?
Yes.
Studies of feet.
Right. I was in bed watching television, and I had my sketch pad with me, and I started drawing my feet, my legs, and I have another painting doing the same thing with my hands. Mm-hmm. But now the ones I did in bed were sketches, charcoal sketches. Years later, in fact, it was like last year or a year before, I made paintings from my sketches, and what you see on the screen are my paintings. Mm-hmm. And there's like a 30-year lapse between the time I did the sketches and the time I did the painting.
And nothing goes to waste and nothing is forgotten.
Right.
Well, you know, we've done a lot of landscapes, looked at your landscape paintings, your architectural type paintings, but you also enjoy portrait painting. And we have some of your portraits as well. What
Yes.
Was this done from a photo or was it done from a model?
This is done from a live model, and it's a one-night stand, so to speak. The model poses for approximately 15 minutes, and then he gets a 5-minute break, and another 15-minute pose, and probably he'll do in one evening maybe 6 or 8 different poses, posing the same way, of course.
Well, then this was at an art school or?
This was at the Cuyahoga Valley Arts Center. Mm-hmm. And this is another live model of a African model.
So you have several of those.
Yes,
I think we have
there's
three of them.
Mm-hmm. And I love to do their skin color is spectacular under artificial light, showing the different colors of their skin, and these three were fantastic models, and they were easy to paint.
Well, you didn't just do men, though. You did some women's portraits as well.
Yes, these two are models, live models, done at the Cauca Valley Art Center. Now, this one of the ballet dancer was done at the Akron Society of Artists, and so was this. This is done at the Cauca Valley Art Center. These are all live models, but done in different brush techniques, and again,
yeah, and
this
one,
is my grandchild.
Yeah, this is where we're going to end our interview, because we are just about out of time. But I think that's just so fitting to end with the portrait of your granddaughter. And I think you said you took that from a school photo.
Yes, I did. Yes.
But added your own little touch of her personality.
Yes.
Well, Steve and Laura, it has been so nice having you with us. I wish we could have gone through all the paintings that you've shared with us. And I hope we'll have you back sometime. And we hope that you enjoyed the show and that you'll be back with us too. Thank you so much for tuning in.